Hey everyone, thanks for being with me today. Today is a special day. Today is a good day. It's called a Good Friday. And I remember hearing about the events of Good Friday, and as a young man, as a young follower of Jesus, I was conflicted because thought to myself, how do we label this day as good? And it really made sense to me one day when I was reading what later became what I call my life verse. It's a verse that carries an immense amount of value to me in my walk with Jesus. This is what it says in Galatians 2:20. I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. I look at that first little part of the passage. I have been crucified with Christ. And as we now sit here on Good Friday, we think back to all that Jesus did for us. See, without the cross, there is no resurrection. Without the cross, there is no opportunity for Jesus to defeat death, showing that he has the power and authority to make dead things live again. Without the cross, there is no demonstration of God's great love for us, that while we were still his enemies, Christ would choose to die for us. And so we call it Good Friday because it is good. It's where God takes the full wages of sin upon his one and only Son. All the things that you and I have ever done that have created a separation between us and an almighty, all-powerful, holy and righteous God are placed on his one and only Son. In Isaiah 53, verses 4-6, it says, "Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering, yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. We all like sheep have gone astray. Each of us has turned to our own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all." That's what we remember this day as we are moving closer and closer to Resurrection Sunday, to Easter, where we celebrate the empty tomb, where we celebrate Jesus restored and resurrected, showing that we can place our trust in him, showing that he is the Savior, the promised Messiah that people like Isaiah prophesied long ago. The cross is what leads us to that point, that God saw you and I worthy enough to pay such a price. That going to the cross is not a simple thing. It's not a painless thing. Jesus, being fully God, but also fully man, felt pain the same way you and I feel it. And as he sits there rejected and ridiculed by the people that he came to save, spat upon, a crown of thorns twisted, placed on his head, and then beat repeatedly, as he's bloodied and bruised and broken, he is hurled with insults and whipped with whips, and then has a crossbar placed on his shoulders to carry to what would be his death site. He carries it sweating and bleeding. The crowd's conflicted. Some of them call him Lord and some of them call him sinner. And he walks to this hill where he is lifted up on this crossbar between two ordinary, everyday criminals. And he hangs there. And he bleeds. And he cries out to God. Matthew 27, "Why, my God, why have you forsaken me. Two members of the Holy Trinity communicating with one another. God the Father knowing that this was the ultimate plan. He's always wanted to be with his people. Way back in the Old Testament, he did it through a tabernacle, and then he did it through a temple. But there was always a separation because humanity, because of our brokenness, could not be in the same place as his holiness. And so there was always a curtain. There was always a veil. There was always some sort of limiting contact between created and creator because of our brokenness. He knew that this was the plan, that this was the redemptive story, that his son would come and he would take on the sins that you and I had placed on ourselves, would be placed onto him, so that God could have a restored relationship because he loved us that much. And in this moment, his son, his one and only son, cries out, "Why have you forsaken me?" And in that moment, the full wrath of God, the Father doesn't hold back, but his full wrath is placed on his son. And in verse 50, it says, when Jesus had cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. And at that moment, the curtain, which once separated creator from creation, the curtain of the temple was torn in two, not from bottom to top, but from top to bottom. See, you and I, we can't work our way to God. We can't earn our way to God. Our best efforts are filthy rags to him. The story of Easter, the story of Good Friday, the story of the Bible is everything that God has done to work his way to us so that he could offer us a gift greater than any other gift, something that we cannot earn and certainly do not deserve, but yet he gives it to us freely. Back to Galatians 2:20. I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. That old way of living, that old self, it is finished. It is completely and utterly done away with. It's paid for. It's redeemed and restored because of everything that Christ is doing in and through you. If you know him as Lord and Savior and have accepted his gift of amazing grace because of his great love for you. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself up for me. He demonstrated his love for you and for me so that each day that we walk, we have faith in a God who keeps his promises and that loves you more than you will ever know. And so, my friends, live in that truth. Live out of the abundance that God desires to pour into your heart and let it work out into the world around you. And just see what he does. He's a good God. And we remember his sacrifice. We remember his demonstration of his love for us today. And may we never forget it. May we live out of the freedom that he afforded for us because he loves us so much. My friends, it was great to be with you on this Good Friday. May you have a wonderful Easter, and I hope we see you soon.